One advantage to making a big king sheet down to a modified queen sheet is you get rid of the holes by cutting them out.
How'd that hole get there?
Squall. We left our laundry out. Even if you already have custom sheets, there's a tip at the end of this video that you're gonna wanna watch because it will help keep your sheets secure and it will take you 5 minutes to add this little change. I'm trying to make better custom sheets, the elastic plan that I had talked about in a previous video. It's worked well, but it's a real pain setting it up each time you clean your sheets. And so I wanna make true custom fitted sheets. I have a 16-inch pocket, but we only have 6-inch mattress and I'm adding 3 inches to have that part that goes under the mattress. So it gets very complicated.
Math is hard.
It is hard.
I can help out with my toes.
These were the ones that got hit by that squall we got caught in when we were anchored in Cape Canaveral. So you see holes. There's a really big hole. So they're a good sheet if I mess up on, it's not a huge loss because they got so damaged in the high winds, which is why now we hang sheets here in the cockpit because it's just too windy up front and it tends to damage sheets. First thing I do, because this is such an awkward thing, is put a B for bottom because once the sheet is made, it's going to be very difficult to tell which piece is the bottom, and that's hidden anyway underneath the mattress. And it just makes making the bed so much easier. Now that I finished one fitted sheet for a forward cabin, obviously the other forward cabin is the same, and I've learned a few lessons. So these are the best steps. You need a sheet bigger than the mattress, and for the forward ones, because they're wider than a size mattress, you have to actually buy a king size sheet if you want to convert a sheet over. Since I'm converting a fitted sheet that's king size, the first thing I do is cut off the fitted sheet elastic all around the perimeter, and then I'll spread it out to get my measurements. My longest dimension on the forward cabin mattresses is the length, which is 80, which matches what a king sheet has in 80. I need to figure out which is my longer side of my king sheet to make sure I have it oriented that way. And because the width that I need is bigger, I had to take out one of the corners. So one corner, and I marked it here with a safety pin, took this corner out, and what that'll do is allow me to stretch this out so I know where to make my cut. From the corner where I put that safety pin, across 65, plus 6 inches for the mattress, 3 inches for the under, and 1 inch, because it's just one side, for the seam allowance. So that would be 9 plus 1 is 10, and 65 is 75. So I want to bring this 75 inches across. With everything, you want to very, very carefully measure. And it's a little tricky. These sheets are just crammed into a closet, so they're quite wrinkly, so I really had to straighten them out. And for this other corner, that's my extra that I've cut off of the side. To make the right corner, then you just put right sides together and then sew along that line. You can see here I did my straight stitch, and then for simplicity I just do a zigzag. I do believe this machine has a better binding stitch, but for the purposes of the sheet I just want to keep the fraying at a minimum so it doesn't reach the stitches, so I just go ahead and do my zigzag. Do is put these on and make sure that it fits the corners. I marked lines at 9 inches, so you can see I have little marks, and all I'm going to do is cut last thing to do is to do the two bottom corners. And because of the slope, it's not going to be a perfect right angle. So what I do is just take my fabric over like that and mark the top of the corner with something like a safety pin, because that's where I want my corner to stop. And then I just gather this in and pin. The tricky part is not to pin the underside. Just take this and fold it over twice. And it's very rough, it doesn't matter, this is gonna be underneath, but this is your channel where your elastic's gonna go. So all you do is you sew that along that edge. See how I'm sewing along the outer edge? And what that gives you is this nice channel here with plenty of space for your elastic to be fed. And double folding this helps because you get this frayed edge. And by tucking that in, it just brings all that fraying inside. And then when you get to where you started, all the way around the sheet, a small gap here, and that will allow you to feed your elastic through. So there's the start, and I'm going to finish here, and there's my gap. So I'm going to do my reverse. I have a little tool like this that helps me feed in the elastic, so I can just put the elastic in the end and then tighten that up. Feed this through that little gap that I left and feed it all the way through to come back out the other side. Now your elastic length should be about 2/3 the perimeter of your mattress. So I gave myself a little bit extra and I came up with 185 for the forward berths. What I like to do is secure the other end of my elastic near the hole so that I don't pull it all the way through and have to start over. So all I'm doing is taking that rod and feeding it through, and you have to go around the entire perimeter of your fitted sheet. And again, I have my other end secured near the opening so I don't pull it all the way through. And you never realize how big the perimeter of a fitted sheet is until you have to go all the way around it, feeding elastic through. Come out the other end, I just remove my feeder tool off my elastic. You can stitch your elastic together, but stitches tend to pop with elastic, so what I do is just tie a couple of square knots. And then I just let that suck up into the sheet, and that's it. You're looking for the B that shows the bottom of the sheet. Way I know that is the bottom and everything else goes up to the top. And that'll save you a lot of time when you make the bed. That corner on, you get this corner on, trying to bring that top part underneath. And then you work your way down. And with these, you have to kind of pull them down on the sides so they come around. Pull this down. And there's your fitted sheet. To solve the issue with the sheets not staying tight at the bottom, I think what it is this corner is so gradual that it doesn't work. So I found adding a piece of elastic here works. So what I do is just mark on the edge where my seam is, and that's where I want to add a piece of elastic. I do that on both sides right here. Same thing. Mark that point. And then I add a clip, and then I add a piece of elastic. And that worked really well on our bed last night. After 16 months of living on this boat with sheets that were always wrinkled and coming tucked, she made a custom sheet, and look at that. Even with the wrinkles, nice and smooth. So no more sheets coming untucked and no more sleeping on a whole bunch of wrinkles.
Good job.
Woo! Shotzi likes it.
Yeah, of course she does.
She's like, I like it. It's so breezy here.